Assalamu alaikum. In our previous lecture, we have discussed about the anatomy of the nose, larynx, and pharynx. In our previous lecture, we discussed about the pharynx composed of different type of cartilage which are present in paired and unpaired form. So, the continuation of the pharynx, we discuss larynx. So, further the continuation of the larynx, we discuss about the anatomy of the trachea. Another name of the trachea is a windpipe. The trachea is a wide hollow tube that connects the larynx voice box to the bronchi of the lungs. The trachea is an integral part of the body airway and has a vital function of providing the airflow to and from the lungs for the respiration. The trachea also protects the respiratory surfaces from accumulation of the foreign particle. So, in our lecture, we have discussed about the anatomical position of the trachea in human body, and the structure outlined the trachea, blood and nerve supply of the trachea, and the function of the trachea and respiration, and the further the trachea, which is divided into the main principal bronchus. Then we discuss about the structure of the bronchus and the function and the blood supply of the bronchus, and the bronchus is further divided into the bronchioles and the alveoli. So, in our chapter, we discuss about the trachea and bronchus, bronchi, bronchioles, and alveoli. First, the trachea, the windpipe. The trachea, the important part of the respiratory tract, is a mobile, cartilaginous, and membranous tube. It starts when the end of the larynx at the point of cricoid cartilage at the level of the sixth cervical vertebra, and it and at the point of the cornea at the level of the fourth and fifth thoracic vertebra, where the trachea is divided into two main principal bronchus. The length of the trachea is about 19 to 15 centimeter long and 2 centimeter in diameter. The cornea, the word cornea is derived from the Italian baby name, the meaning dear and beloved. The word cornea is used for as a beloved one. It is used as a name of beloved one. We say to someone as that she is my cornea. So the in anatomy, the word cornea means the part of the trachea where is divided into the two main principal bronchus. The cornea is a cartilaginous ridge within the trachea at the site of the tracheal bifurcations. It is located at the inferior end of the trachea at the level of the T4 and T5 thoracic vertebra. The mucous membrane of the cornea is the more sensitive area of the trachea for triggering a cough reflex, as a foreign particle or the food and the water are accidentally inhaled in the trachea. So the widening and the distortion of the trachea is a serious sign because it usually indicated the carcinoma of the lymph node around the region where the trachea divides. The actual length of the trachea in an adult is about 4.5 inch long and about 2.5 centimeter in diameter. The position of the trachea, it is lie as we show in the diagram in front of the esophagus. So in diagram you can see the structure of the cartilage of the trachea, and behind the trachea there is an esophagus. The lumen, the area between this cartilage is known as a lumen, and these cartilage are present in the C shapes, and the muscle attachment in this cartilage is known as the trachealis muscles. Structure of the trachea. The trachea is composed of almost 16 to 20 incomplete C-shaped rings of the hyaline cartilage that are arranged in a helical structure. The cartilage of the trachea are incomplete posteriorly because it provides the support and patency to respiratory tract when we move the head and neck. Then the composition of the tracheal wall. The tracheal wall is composed of the three layers: outer layer, middle layer, and inner layer. The outermost layer of cartilage is composed of the fibrous and elastic tissue and encloses the cartilage. The middle layer of the cartilage consists of cartilage and the band of the smooth muscle that wind around the trachea in a helical arrangement. Just like the ring and They are just like the cortege is like a ring, and around this ring there is a smooth muscle, which smoothly and support the cartilage. The innermost layer of the cartilage is composed of ciliated columnar epithelium and contain the mucus-secreting goblet cell that keep the inner lumen of the trachea moist. As we show in the diagram, at the end of the hyoid there is larynx, and the very end of the larynx at the cricoid cartilage there is a trachea. When we see the one cartilage of the trachea and microscopically we see the structure of the tracheal wall. It's composed of three layers: outer fibrous layer, middle cartilaginous layer, and the innermost ciliated columnar epithelium cell, which contain the mucus containing goblet cells, as you show in the diagram. Now the structure associated with trachea. As we discuss about the end of the larynx, at the part of the cricoid cartilage there is a start of the trachea. So at the upper end of the trachea there is a larynx. At the end of the trachea, at the point of the cornea, the trachea is divided into two parts, primary bronchus. So at the inferior end there is a right and left bronchi, and in front of the trachea there is an upper part, the isthmus of the thyroid gland, lower part, and the arch of aorta and sternum. As we discuss, at the behind of the trachea there is an esophagus separate the trachea from the vertebral column. At the lateral side of the trachea there is a lungs and the lobes of the thyroid gland. Blood supply of the trachea. The trachea is divided into two parts, upper 2/3 and lower 1/3 part. The upper 2/3 part is supplied by the inferior thyroid arteries, and the lower 1/3 is supplied by the bronchial arteries. So the venous return of trachea is by the inferior thyroid vein into the brachiocephalic vein. Lymphatic drain of the trachea. The lymphatic drain of the trachea is through peritracheal and paratracheal lymph node and the deep cervical node in the cornea, the area where the trachea is divided into two parts. The nerve supply of the trachea is through the vagus nerve and the recurrent laryngeal nerve. The parasympathetic supply is through the laryngeal nerve that constricts the trachea, and the sympathetic supply is through the sympathetic ganglion that cause the dilation of the trachea. So this is about the trachea. Now the main important function of the trachea. The first main important function of the trachea, as we discuss about the structure of the trachea, there the trachea is composed of 16 to 20 cartilages in a helical structure, and around this helical structure there is a smooth arrangement of the smooth muscle. So the arrangement of the cartilage and the elastic tissue prevents the kinking and the obstruction of the airway as the head and the neck move. The absence of the cartilage posteriorly, as we discuss about the cartilage of the trachea is posteriorly incomplete. So because of this structure it allows the trachea to dilate and constrict in response to the nerve stimulation. As we discussed, the parasympathetic cause the constriction of the trachea, and the sympathetic ganglion stimulation cause the dilation of the trachea. The cartilage of the trachea prevent the collapse of the trachea when the internal pressure is less than the interthoracic pressure, that is at the end of the forced expiration. So other function of the trachea is mucociliary accelerator. At the innermost layer of the trachea is composed of the ciliated columnar epithelium cell and contain the globular cells. So synchronized and the regular beating of the cilia of the mucous membrane lining that drift the mucus with adherent particle upward towards the larynx, whether it is swallowed or coughed up. So it is a protective function. It is also a protective function of the trachea, that when any other foreign particle enter in the trachea, the sensitive part of the trachea, the sensory part of the trachea activated and move back the foreign particle into the larynx in the form of the cough reflex. So the cough reflex, the nerve ending in the larynx, trachea and the bronchi are sensitive to the irritation, which generate the nerve impulses conducted by the vagus nerve to the respiratory center in the brain stem. As a reflex motor response in deep inspiration followed by the closure of the glottis, When the epiglottis is closed, the abdominal and respiratory muscle contract and sudden there is a air release under the pressure that cause the mucus and foreign particle from the expel out from the mouth. The other function of the trachea is about warming, humidifying and filtering. Because the lining of air is ciliated glandular epithelium, it causes the filtering, humidifying and the warming of the foreign particles, and the foreign particles and which air is filtered, it causes the humidifying and filtering the air before entering into the lungs. The further part of the trachea, where the trachea is divided into the two parts at the level of the sternal angle into the right and left main principal bronchi at the level of the fourth and fifth thoracic vertebra, that give rise to the several terminal bronchioles that terminate into the one or the more respiratory bronchioles, and each respiratory bronchiole is divided into the 2 to 11 alveolar ducts that enter the alveolar sacs. The alveoli arise from the wall of the sacs are diverticula, means they are present in the circular form. As we show in the diagram, at the point of the cornea, at the level of the T4 and T5 thoracic vertebra, the main trachea is divided into the principal right and left principal bronchus, and the further this principal bronchus divided into the bronchioles, and the bronchioles is further divided into the alveoli. Principal bronchi. The trachea is divided into the right and left principal bronchus. The right principal bronchus is wider, shorter and more vertical than the left. As we show in the diagram, the right bronchus is wider, shorter and more vertical than the left. It's about 2.5 cm long. Before entering into the hilum, hilum is the part of the lungs that is present on the medial surfaces of the lungs, a small portion where all of the vessels, nerve supply enter and leaving the lungs. So at the point of the hilum, where the main bronchus enter into the lungs, it is divided into the superior lobular bronchus, and when it is passing from the hilum, it is further divided into the middle and inferior lobular bronchus. Left main principal bronchus. The left main principal bronchus is long, narrow, and more horizontal than the right. It is about 2 centimeter. It is about 2 inch and 5 centimeter in long. It passes to the left below the arch of aorta and in front of the esophagus. The left main principal bronchus, when it is entered into the left lungs, it is divided into two lobular bronchus, superior and inferior lobular bronchus. So in this diagram, you can see at the point of cornea, at the level of T4 and T5 thoracic vertebra, the trachea is divided into the two main principal bronchus. Right bronchus, which is the wider, shorter and more steeper and about 2 centimeter in long. The right main bronchus is more steeper because it is almost a direct line with the trachea. The foreign particles travel across the trachea are more likely to enter into the right main bronchus. So there is more chance to enter the foreign particle into the right main bronchus than the left. The left is narrow, longer and more horizontal and about 5 centimeter in length. The left bronchus is more horizontal because the horizontal fissure of the lungs, marked by the fourth ribs and a corresponding fourth costal cartilage. So this is more narrow and longer. In this diagram, at the point of the cornea, the right main bronchus, which is the shorter, wider, is divided in at the point of the hilum. It is divided into the right superior lobular bronchus, and when it is crossing the hilum, it is divided into the middle lobular bronchus and the inferior lobular bronchus. While on the left side, at the point of the cornea, It is divided when the principal bronchus enters into the hilum. It is divided into the left superior bronchus and the left inferior lobular bronchus. The other name of the bronchus is the segmental or the tertiary bronchi, pulmonary bronchi. When the principal bronchus enter into the lungs, they are known as pulmonary bronchi. So it is divided into the secondary or lobular bronchi. Each secondary bronchus is divided into the segmental and tertiary bronchi, and the area of the lungs where the tertiary bronchus is present is known as the bronchopulmonary segment. As you show in the diagram, the superior lobular bronchus is known as the primary bronchus, and the inferior is known as the secondary, and the inferior is known as the tertiary bronchus. Structure of the bronchi. The structure of the bronchi is the same as the trachea, and it is lined with the slated columnar epithelium. The bronchi is further divided into the bronchioles, terminal bronchioles, respiratory bronchioles, and then the respiratory bronchioles into the alveolar duct, and finally the alveoli. So at the upper part of the bronchioles there is the same as the composition of the trachea, but at the lower end of the bronchioles the cartilage becomes irregular in shape and are absent at the bronchiole level. In the absence of the cartilage, the smooth muscle in the wall of the bronchiole becomes thicker and responsible to the autonomic stimulation and irritation. At the lower end of the bronchiole, the slated columnar epithelium changes gradually into the non-slated cuboidal shaped cell, because at this point the air is completely filtered, humidified and warm before entering into the terminal bronchioles. So the upper part of bronchioles is more wider than the lower part of the terminal or respiratory bronchioles or the alveoli. So the upper part is known as the conducting airway, because its function is to bring the air into the lungs, and its wall are more thick to permit the gases exchange. As you show in the diagram, the bronchus, bronchi, bronchioles, respiratory bronchioles is further divided into the respiratory portion and the conduction portion. In conduction, the conduction portion is contained the tertiary segmental main bronchus is contained the trachea, main bronchus, and the tertiary segmental bronchus, and this further is divided into the terminal bronchioles, and terminal bronchiole is divided into the lobular bronchioles, and lobular into the terminal and the respiratory bronchioles, and then further into the alveolar duct and alveoli, and around this alveoli there is an alveolar sac where the gases exchange take place, and there is the network of the capillaries where the oxygen come out and the carbon dioxide come out, where the oxygen is coming to the lungs and the carbon dioxide move out from the lungs. Blood supply of the bronchus, the arterial and the venous. The arterial supply of the main bronchi and the smaller passages through the right and left bronchial arteries, and the venous return is through the bronchial vein, and this venous return is empty into the azygos on the left side into the superior intercostal vein. The nerve supply of the main bronchi is through the parasympathetic that cause the contraction of the smooth muscles, and the sympathetic supply through the sympathetic ganglion that cause the bronchodilation of it. The lymphatic drain is through the lymph node which is present around the trachea, and the bronchial tree which is empty into the thoracic duct which is present on left and the right side of the lymphatic duct on other sides. So the function of the trachea, as we discuss about the bronchi is the main composition is to control the entry of the air, and its main function is to entry of the air into the lungs. So the diameter of the respiratory passage is altered by the contraction and the relaxation of the involuntary muscle in the wall. So the bronchi is regulating the volume of the air entering into the lungs through the contraction and the dilation of the bronchus. So the other function of the bronchus are warming and humidifying, spot and patency, removal of the removal of the foreign particle as a cough reflex. Further, the main terminal bronchioles is divided into the respiratory bronchioles and alveoli. The each loop of the lungs is supplied by the air by the terminal bronchioles, which is further divided into the respiratory bronchioles, alveolar duct, and the large number of the alveoli and alveolar sacs. It's about 150 million alveoli in adult lungs. So this is the part of alveoli where the process of the gases exchange takes place. As the airway progressively divided and becomes smaller and smaller, their wall gradually become thicker. The distal respiratory passages are supported by the loose network of the elastic connective tissue, where the exchange of the gases take place in alveoli. As is shown in the diagram, at the upper end of the bronchus there is the smooth muscles, and in alveoli there is the connective tissues. There is the loose connective tissue, and this loose connective tissue is around a network of the capillaries, and there is oxygenated and deoxygenated blood exchanges where the oxygen where the deoxygenated blood enter into the lungs, and through alveoli they are converted into the oxygenated blood supply, and this oxygenated blood supply whole of the from the whole of the body. The nerve supply of the alveoli and the bronchioles are through the vagus nerve, and the function of the bronchioles is the external respiration, where the exchange of the gases take place between the alveoli and the blood. The important function of alveoli and bronchioles is as the protective function, because it contains the lymphocyte plasma cells which produce the antibodies against the foreign particles, and the gases exchange between the oxygen and the carbon dioxide. Thank you. For any query, contact at this number.